Imagine a blind psychic who accurately predicted the future, leaving the world in shock. Years of secrecy surrounded her words, but her latest prediction for 2025 has just surfaced, and it holds the potential to fundamentally alter our understanding. In 2023, researchers discovered her prophecies in a Bulgarian monastery. This blind mystic, who died in 1982, left behind a manuscript so mysterious that even skeptics couldn't dismiss it. She predicted events like the collapse of the Twin Towers and the unimaginable floods that followed. But her most terrifying vision is yet to come, a series of events in 2025 that could change the world forever. Baba Vanga, born Vangelia Pandeva Dimitrova on January 31, 1911, in Strumica, modern-day North Macedonia, was a blind mystic often called the Nostradamus of the Balkans. She lost her sight following a childhood accident, but she claimed this blindness heightened her ability to foresee future events. Decades ago, she wrote about things no one could have imagined in her time. She depicted a world where invisible networks interconnected, individuals conversing via glowing screens, and machines capable of human-like thought. These weren't fantasies, they were detailed visions of what we now recognize as social media, smartphones, and artificial intelligence. In her writings, she described 3 key signs that would signal a turning point for humanity. The first sign, she said, came from the stars. In late 2024, scientists detected a strange signal from deep space, something that defies natural explanation. This signal, she believed, was not just a random occurrence, but a message, a warning from beyond. The second sign is happening now, with the global economy shifting in ways no one expected. Currencies are changing, old systems are crumbling, and new technologies are taking over. The psychic described this as a moment when power and control would move faster than people could understand, forcing humanity into a new era. The third sign is yet to come. Hidden deep in the Vatican's secret archives, she wrote of a discovery that would change the way the world sees history, religion, and even itself. This revelation, she warned, would challenge everything we know and prepare us for the moment she called the Great Choice. The Great Choice, according to her prophecy, is the moment when humanity will face its biggest decision. It's not just about governments or scientists deciding the future. It's about every single person on the planet coming to a point where their actions matter. She described this as a time when the balance could tip toward 2 very different outcomes. On one side, she saw what she called the Great Ascension, a future where humanity rises to new heights, embracing understanding, unity, and growth. On the other side, she foresaw chaos, a descent into darkness where fear, greed, and destruction take over. What makes her prediction so striking is how much of them has already come true. She spoke of machines with human-like intelligence, currencies without paper, and an invisible war fought not with weapons, but with information. These things seemed impossible when she wrote them, but today they're all around us. Her final warning was clear. August 15, 2025 will be the day everything changes. On this day, the third and final sign will appear, and humanity will face its ultimate test. The decisions made in that moment won't just shape the next year or decade, they'll determine the very future of our species. Her first famous prediction described the fall of the giant twins. When the Twin Towers fell on September 11, 2001, the connection was impossible to ignore. But it wasn't just this event she foresaw. She warned of great waters rising and skies lighting up, and exactly 22 years later, the world began experiencing unprecedented floods and atmospheric phenomena. Still, these were just the beginning. Last year, astronomers picked up an unusual signal from the depths of space. Unlike anything recorded before, it defied natural explanation. This signal, a repetitive pattern of unknown origin, wasn't random. Scientists described it as a potential intelligent source, something trying to communicate. To skeptics, it's just noise. To others, it's an omen. But for those who've read the mystic's predictions, it's confirmation that the clock is ticking. The shifting world economy, the second sign, is happening now, though many might not see it for what it is. Global economic systems are in flux. Cryptocurrencies are becoming mainstream. Countries are shifting alliances. The rise of artificial intelligence is redefining industries. The mystic wrote of a new and unexpected paradigm that would force nations to adapt or collapse. It's happening in real time, and with each passing month, the shift becomes more visible. Hidden within the Vatican's archives lies a discovery, one that will fundamentally challenge the foundations of the world's major religions. This revelation, buried for over 2 millennia, will come to light exactly 73 days before August 15th, 2025. According to the mystic, this truth will cause upheaval unlike anything humanity has ever faced, shaking people's understanding of history, faith, and their place in the universe. But her predictions didn't stop there. She warned that the convergence of these signs would lead to what she called the Great Crossroads. On August 15th, 2025, humanity will face a choice that could either save it or doom it. What's most chilling is how closely her words align with today's reality. The mystic described technological leaps, machines that could think and even predict the future. She envisioned tools so advanced they would blur the lines between human and machine. Now, in the age of quantum computing and artificial intelligence, her warnings feel less like fantasy and more like a glimpse of what's coming. She also wrote of genetic engineering, a field that was barely imaginable when she lived. Today, scientists are editing DNA and experimenting with ways to manipulate life itself. She warned that these advancements, while groundbreaking, could lead to irreversible consequences if misused. One of the most disturbing aspects of her prophecy involves a silent, invisible war. She wrote that guns and bombs would not fight this war. Instead, information and control would be the weapons of choice. She spoke of networks binding minds across distances, a chillingly accurate description of today's internet and social media. She described these networks as both a tool for awakening and a weapon for manipulation. Decades ago, the mystic wrote about machines that would think, learn, and act on their own, a concept that sounded absurd at the time. Today, this vision is a reality. Artificial intelligence now powers everything from our smartphones to national security systems. These technologies have reshaped industries, economies, and even our daily lives. But this progress has come with a cost. The mystic warned that the more we rely on machines to think for us, the more we risk losing touch with our humanity. She foresaw a future where technology would begin to dictate not just how we live, but who we are. She described tools that could predict the future by analyzing data on an unimaginable scale, enabling certain groups to hold extraordinary power. These technologies, in her vision, could manipulate societies, control economies, and even influence personal decisions. This level of control, she wrote, would create a dangerous imbalance, one that could spiral out of humanity's grasp. Another of her warnings centered on the manipulation of life. She spoke of scientists altering the building blocks of existence, what we now recognize as genetic engineering. At the time, such an idea seemed like science fiction. Today, it's a scientific reality. The mystic's greatest fear wasn't the technology itself, it was what humanity might become in its wake. She spoke of a world where people became so consumed with innovation that they forgot the importance of connection, empathy, and self-awareness. She described this loss as a kind of hollowing out, where individuals might have everything they ever dreamed of at their fingertips, but feel more isolated and disconnected than ever before. Her vision foreshadowed a future where the very tools we create could erode humanity's essence, the core traits that define our species. This isn't just about technology replacing jobs or changing lifestyles. It's about a deeper shift. She foresaw a time when the boundary between human and machine would blur so much that we might no longer recognize ourselves. In this future, she warned, we risk becoming less like the creators of technology and more like its creations. This conflict, she said, would play out in ways we might not even notice. It wouldn't be loud or obvious. Instead, it would unfold subtly, as people slowly give up pieces of their humanity in exchange for convenience, power, or comfort. She urged us to approach these advancements with caution and mindfulness. It's not about rejecting technology or science, but about ensuring that they serve humanity, not the other way around. In her eyes, progress and essence didn't have to be enemies. They could coexist, but only if we actively chose to preserve what makes us human. A brighter, more profound thread weaves through the mystic's grim warnings of technological chaos and global upheaval. She foresaw not just catastrophe, but a transformation, a spiritual awakening that would rise like a beacon in humanity's darkest hour. It's this awakening, she believed, that holds the key to overcoming the challenges of our rapidly changing world. Her visions didn't just predict the collapse of systems or the emergence of groundbreaking technologies, they also pointed to something deeply human, a collective realization of what truly matters. She spoke of a time when individuals, disconnected by modern life, would begin to reconnect in ways that transcend the physical and material. She described this awakening as a ripple that would start small but grow into a global wave. At its core is the understanding that humanity's greatest strength isn't in its machines, its inventions, or its wealth. It's in its ability to connect, to care, and to create meaning. In her writings, she envisioned people rediscovering forgotten truths, the kind of wisdom passed down through generations, but lost in the noise of progress. This awakening, she believed, would emerge not from leaders or institutions, but from ordinary individuals. It would be sparked in moments, a conversation between friends, a realization during a walk in nature, a sense of purpose ignited by the chaos around them. She wrote about a world where people, overwhelmed by digital distractions and consumed by materialism, would feel increasingly isolated. Social networks, she said, would link minds across distances, but fail to nurture real human connection. The more connected people became in the digital sense, the more disconnected they would feel in their hearts. Her prophecy described this disconnection as a spiritual void, a hollowing out of the human spirit. People would search desperately for meaning, turning to fleeting comforts and shallow pursuits to fill the emptiness. Yet, she believed that in this struggle lay the seeds of awakening. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. According to her, the spiritual awakening would not come easily. The very crises she foresaw, economic instability, environmental collapse, and the rapid pace of technological change, would trigger it. These challenges, while daunting, would force humanity to confront what truly matters. She spoke of individuals experiencing moments of profound clarity, where the distractions of modern life fade away and deeper truths come into focus. In these moments, she believed, people would begin to see beyond the illusions of wealth, power, and control. They would recognize the importance of kindness, the value of community, and the need to protect the fragile balance of life on Earth. This network would serve as a counterbalance to the forces of division and chaos. It would inspire acts of generosity, resilience, and cooperation. It would remind humanity of its potential to rise above fear and conflict and to work together for the common good. She even spoke of a transformation in how humanity views life and death. Her writings hinted at scientific discoveries that would challenge existing beliefs about consciousness and existence, opening new paths for understanding the nature of reality. These revelations, she believed, would deepen humanity's spiritual awareness and fuel the awakening further. She saw this choice not as a grand, singular event, but as a series of small decisions made by individuals every day. Each act of kindness, each effort to understand another person, each moment spent reflecting on life's deeper meaning, these, she believed, were the building blocks of a brighter future. The mystic's words, written decades ago, echo louder than ever today. Her warnings of technological dominance, societal transformation, and the possibility of spiritual awakening are no longer distant prophecies. They are our present reality. The choices we make now will define not only our lives, but the future of generations to come. Governments or leaders will not make this decision alone. It is one that depends on each of us. This decision is not about grand, dramatic gestures, but the small, meaningful actions that ripple outwards, shaping the world in ways we cannot always see. The world is moving faster than ever. Every day brings new advancements, new discoveries, and new challenges. We are surrounded by tools and technologies that have the power to revolutionize life as we know it. Yet, as the mystic warned, progress without purpose is dangerous. It risks turning us into spectators of our own lives, disconnected from what makes us human. She foresaw a time when humanity would face unprecedented challenges. The rise of machines that think and act, the manipulation of life itself, and the collapse of old systems that once held society together. These are not distant threats. They are here, and they demand our attention. But her message was not one of despair. It was a call to awaken, to recognize that even in the face of upheaval, there is hope. Humanity has always found ways to adapt, to rise above challenges, and to create something greater. This awakening begins with awareness. It starts when we pause and reflect, when we look beyond the distractions of the modern world and see the truth of what lies ahead. She believed that by embracing this awakening, humanity could navigate the storms of change and emerge stronger, more united, and more compassionate. If you're enjoying this story, click the super thanks button to help spread awareness and fuel meaningful change. No single person can shape the future alone. It will take all of us working together to build a world where progress serves humanity rather than controls it. This is not a challenge to fear, but an opportunity to seize. She believed in our potential to awaken, to create, and to transform. Her words were not a prediction of doom, but a call to action, a reminder that the power to shape the future lies within each of us. The time to act is now. Let us not forget the lessons of her vision, and let us step forward with courage, wisdom, and hope. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.